I want to give you real tactical ways to actually implement the biblical diet. I have got 5 of the simplest recipes that are 100% Bible approved based on what scripture tells us is for our food, that have minimal ingredients and steps, and you can trust are actually healthy. I wanted to make sure you could do this like tonight if you wanted to. Do you struggle to stay consistent with healthy eating and just want food decisions to be easy, guilt-free, and sustainable? You're in the right place. I'm Chelsea, nutritionist and fitness coach who overcame restrictive yo-yo dieting and body image insecurities using simple nutrition tools, all backed by biblical principles. And now I help women like you find that same freedom with food so you can feel confident in the look and health of your body for decades to come. I'm ready to dive in with you. So open your notes app and let's go. I remember lying in bed, mentally taking inventory of every item I ate at a friend's birthday party, beating myself up because I had cheated on my diet again. I felt bloated and downright disgusting afterwards. This wasn't the first time either. I just don't have the willpower to stay motivated for stuff like that. In a moment of prayer, begging the Lord to make me stronger, it was almost as if he told me, "It's not your lack of strength. I made you plenty strong. You're just focusing on the wrong thing." And just like that, it was as if a light bulb flipped on, and I immediately got curious about what God has to say about healthy eating. And now, 7 years later, I have complete control over my food choices. Even the cravings and temptations. I never feel guilty about the food I eat. I have energy all day and a toned body that I actually feel confident in. And as a part of my testimony, I want to give you all the same tools so that you can experience that same freedom with food. And that is why I'm offering a limited number of Healthy Meals Strategy sessions, where I will give you the exact method that I use in my own life and with hundreds of my nutrition clients to make healthy eating the Lord's way your lifestyle, not just another fad diet you have to white knuckle your way through. This has the power to change your life. You just need to sign up for your one-on-one session at coachrain.com/strategy, and I will give you the rest. Don't wait. I am only offering 3 spots. Sign up at coachrain.com/strategy today. And now, welcome to Nutrition for Christian Women. I am so excited about this episode. If you've been listening to the past several episodes, I've been covering a lot about the Bible diet. I've put a definition on it, talked about how it helps balance blood sugar, eliminates cravings. It's truly the answer we've been looking for with regards to our health and body. But today, I want to give you real tactical ways to actually implement the biblical diet. I have got 5 of the simplest recipes that are 100% Bible approved based on what scripture tells us is for our food, that have minimal ingredients and steps, and you can trust are actually healthy. I wanted to make sure you could do this like tonight if you wanted to, and not have to stress about what to make for dinner that tastes good, isn't complicated, and doesn't break the bank. And I think I've nailed it. So I'm going to give you a recipe for lamb, chicken, cod, vegetables, and of course, a dessert. Because we love variety. Are you ready with something to take notes with? Let's go. Starting with the lamb recipe. Now, lamb does have a bit of a gamier taste to it than, say, your average beef. Some people find that flavor to be unappealing. I personally do not mind it, and genuinely believe that taste buds can evolve with enough exposure. And of course, if it's prepared in a way that actually highlights the flavor profile. So here is my favorite way to prepare lamb, specifically lamb chops. Now, this recipe is to make 4 servings. You will need 8 small lamb chops, which is about 2 pounds, 4 cloves of garlic minced, about 2 teaspoons of fresh rosemary chopped, 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme leaves, the zest and juice from half a lemon, salt and pepper to taste, and extra virgin olive oil. I typically cook these on the stovetop in a cast iron skillet, but you can also grill them. You can put them on a griddle if you've got a flat top griddle. Honestly, whatever is easiest for you. In a small bowl, you're going to combine everything except for the lamb. So all of the herbs and seasonings and the olive oil, mix it all up, and then you're going to rub that mixture all over the lamb chops. And if time allows, you don't have to do this, but it is kind of the difference between just your average homemade food and restaurant quality flavor. But letting that meat marinate at room temperature is going to elicit a much better result. So if you let them sit for 15 to 30 minutes with that marinade rubbed all over it, you won't be sorry. But if you don't have time for that, you can skip that step. Then heat your cast iron skillet or whatever you're cooking on to a medium-high heat. And then you're just going to put the lamb chops on there for 3 to 4 minutes per side. And that will get you to about a medium rare finish. You can cook them longer to reach your desired doneness. And if you are making enough for leftovers, I would take them off sooner so that there is room to reheat them without just cooking them into bricks. And then don't skip this step. Allow the lamb to rest for 5 minutes before serving. Resting your meat allows it time for the juices to reabsorb, which gives you a much more tender bite. You will not be sorry. Okay, the next recipe I want to give you is for baked cod. However, just about any fleshy fish will do. You can use salmon, tilapia, trout, so long as it has both fins and scales according to the biblical standards. And the cool thing is, this recipe actually uses a lot of the same ingredients as the lamb recipe. So you can actually go grocery shopping once and make a variety of different meals with a lot of common ingredients. You will need 4 cod fillets, and I like to start with them about 6 ounces raw, since they do cook down quite a bit. 2 cloves of garlic minced, the juice and zest of 1 whole lemon, 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley chopped, about a teaspoon of thyme, salt and pepper to taste, and your extra virgin olive oil. Start this one with preheating your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and then place the cod fillets in a slightly oiled baking dish. I usually use a glass casserole dish for this one. Then in a small bowl, whisk together everything else: the olive oil, the lemon juice and zest, your herbs and spices. Whisk that all up and then spoon the mixture over each fillet. Pop that baking dish in the oven for 12 to 15 minutes or until the fish flakes easily with a fork. And that's literally it. So easy. I honestly think the part about this that takes the longest is mincing the garlic. This recipe is also a 4-serving recipe and can be made ahead of time for leftovers if you are prepping meals. Now, this next recipe is a cold one, primarily using chicken. You could swap the chicken for canned fish like tuna or salmon just as well, but I already gave you a fish recipe, so let's explore some poultry. This is a fig and walnut chicken salad. Here's what you'll need: 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, olive oil, salt and pepper to taste, about 8 cups of mixed leafy greens, 6 fresh figs quartered, half of a cucumber sliced. And I like to use English cucumbers. I find that regular cucumbers have somewhat of a bitter skin to them. You could take the skins off, but then you're missing out on a lot of fiber. So English cucumber is the way to go in my book. You'll also need half a cup of walnuts chopped up, and half a cup of fresh parsley chopped. That is for the main salad. Now, here is a wonderful dressing to put with it. You'll start with a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, a tablespoon of honey, a teaspoon of Dijon mustard, and then salt and pepper to taste. For the instructions, we're going to start by cooking the chicken, and you can just season it with salt and pepper and then cook it in a skillet for about 6 to 7 minutes per side or until it's cooked all the way through. I find that the best way to cook chicken breast is by tenderizing it before putting it on the skillet. It helps it to cook through more evenly so that you don't have raw chicken on the thick part of the breast and then overcooked on the small end. And you can literally hammer the heck out of a chicken breast with your fist if you don't have a tenderizing mallet. Then once the chicken is cooked through, again, let it rest for at least 5 minutes before slicing it. You could also make the chicken ahead of time, let it rest, refrigerate it, and then slice it as you serve it fresh. While the chicken is resting, put all of the dressing ingredients into a jar with a lid and then shake that bad boy vigorously until it's all combined. It should end up as a smooth consistency. Then, in a large bowl, combine the greens, figs, cucumber, walnuts, and parsley, and then drizzle with the dressing, toss it all to combine it, add the sliced cooked chicken on top when serving, and if you are making this ahead of time, I would wait to add the dressing until just before serving, or you're going to end up with soggy greens, and nobody likes that. Bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself a delightful chicken salad. Now, you may be wondering where all the vegetables are in these. Here is one veggie recipe that can be used universally to go with any of these recipes. This is my harvest chickpea and grains bowl. You will need 2 medium sweet potatoes cubed, 2 cups of broccoli florets, 3 carrots sliced, 1 red onion cut into wedges, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, about a teaspoon of paprika, ground cumin, salt and pepper to taste, 2 15-ounce cans of chickpeas, and I would drain and rinse those before using them. And then optionally, you can also add 1 cup of grains, such as quinoa, farro, barley, or couscous. So those are the main vegetable ingredients. Then for the dressing that makes these chef's kiss delicious, you'll need a 1/4 cup of tahini, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of water or more as needed, a tablespoon of olive oil. Unless your tahini has separated a bit, then you can use the oil from the tahini, 1 garlic clove minced, and salt to taste. All right, here's how it goes. Preheat your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. If you are using grains, cook your grains according to their package directions. However, the chickpeas do count as a starchy carb for those of us who are eating diamond meals, so the grains aren't necessary, but you could also swap at least a can of those chickpeas for the grains to create even more variety. We love options. Okay, then you're going to toss the sweet potatoes, broccoli, carrots, and onion with olive oil and all the seasonings. Put those on a sheet pan and roast them for 25 to 30 minutes, stirring halfway through. We want to make sure all sides of them get that nice golden color. During the last 5 minutes of that roasting, add the chickpeas to warm them up and then give them a light crisp. While those are roasting, whisk together all of the ingredients for the dressing until they are smooth. Again, you can put them in a jar with a lid and shake them up, but tahini does tend to need some stir action. If it's not coming together or it's starting to get kind of pasty, add additional water as needed so that it is a pourable consistency. Again, something that I find is often necessary when you're using tahini. Then, once the vegetables are done roasting, combine the grains, if you're using them, with the roasted vegetables and chickpeas. Drizzle the tahini dressing over them all very generously, and you can serve these either warm or cold. All right, this last recipe is for my fellow sweet tooth friends. I love to make a batch of these simply to have on hand when that sweet tooth strikes. It is far more nutritious than the old Halloween candy stash that's hiding in the back of the pantry, and this comes together so quickly and easily. It is my no-bake honey and fig walnut bite recipe. This makes about 16 bites. You will need 1.5 cups of dried figs. You could also use dates here. I actually alternate between the two, kind of depending on my mood. The dates are a little bit more sticky of an end product, and then the figs will inherently give you those little seeds in each bite. So it's just something to consider which one would be your preference. You'll also need a cup of walnuts. I like to chop these up. 1/2 cup of almonds, also chopped up. 2 tablespoons of honey. About a teaspoon of cinnamon. A pinch of salt to taste. And optional, but I definitely prefer, a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then you're going to add the figs, walnuts, almonds, and cinnamon all to a food processor, and then pulse them until they are finely chopped. Then add the honey and vanilla and salt and process until the mixture sticks together. Roll them into 1-inch balls. You could also take an ice cream scooper and scoop them out that way. Refrigerate for about 30 minutes just to harden them up. And then you can store them in the fridge for up to a week if they aren't all gone by then. And there you have it. A snapshot of what the Bible diet actually looks like in real 21st century life. I hope you were inspired to try at least one of these recipes. And if you could use more step-by-step instructions for what to eat, just like this, but with even more structure, like timing and grocery lists, then you need to book your healthy meals strategy session with me at coachrain.com/strategy. Don't let what to eat be a question that exhausts you anymore. I've got you covered. All you have to do is book your session and show up. I will do the rest. Again, that's coachreign.com/strategy. We'll chat soon. I pray this episode was helpful to you, my friend. If so, could you do me a massive favor and take 30 seconds to write a review? This is the best way to bless me big and help more people learn just how simple eating healthy consistently can be. And if you want more value-packed info from me, head to coachrain.com and sign up for the weekly harvest. My weekly emails filled with recipes, how to use food as medicine, biblical nutrition, and more. That's coachreign.com for all the goods. Blessings until next time, sis. Toodles.